The war between the PGA Tour and the LIV Golf Series has been raging on for months now, and we've seen a lot of back and forth from both Norman and Monahan. There hasn't been a strong reaction from the golfers themselves, but as we head into the playoffs, it seems like the patience has finally worn thin. So who's speaking up and taking the fight to the Saudi League? We'll keep watching to find out. First up, LIV Golf's players' hijacks have kept players quiet so far. It's been a long time since we've seen a disruptor like the Saudi-funded league within golf. Of course, there have been numerous attempts to uproot the sport's hierarchy, but nothing's come even close to Greg Norman's venture in terms of sheer funding. So naturally, they've already got a leg up on the competition when it comes to making inroads into the mindshare. At the same time though, their greatest strength has been off the course rather than on it. We mean, sure, they've nabbed some incredible golfers over the past few months, but the amount of publicity that they've had is worth so much more. Besides, it's not like many people are tuning in to watch the invitationals week in and week out anyway, as the numbers aren't actually as good as you'd think. But despite that, LIV Golf continues to pull all the important headlines away from the PGA Tour. Now, with all this drama surrounding the new league, you'd think that more tour members would stand up against it, right? Don't get us wrong, we've definitely seen some passionate rants from the likes of Tiger Woods and Sergio Garcia. It's just that the response from the rest of the field has been rather muted. And there's a good reason for that though, because what you say on air can be held against you. So if you decide to join Norman's camp later down the line, you run the risk of being called a hypocrite. As a matter of fact, we've already got a pretty good example in Brooks Koepka, who made an impassioned speech against the Saudi League at the US Open, only to join them a week later. But frustration is building within the PGA Tour's ranks. There's been a ton of stuff said about the LIV Golf Series, from claims that they're trying to sports wash to concerns about golfers losing their mojo after joining. Greg Norman hasn't had a shortage of criticism sent his way, and while the PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan himself has been pretty vocal as well, it looks like that frustration is now trickling down into the members as well. Why would the tour's golfers feel bad about the league though? Does all this drama really affect them on the course? Well, apparently it does. In fact, we don't even have to look that far back to get an idea of how much it changes things. For instance, every single major tournament has been clouded by questions about LIV. Plus, to be fair, it's a shame that golfers aren't able to fully live out their moments of glory without them getting muddled by the drama. Like when Justin Thomas lifted the PGA Championship trophy earlier this year, the big headline was still not about his big achievement. So all of these things can definitely creep into everyone's mind. On top of that, there's the distraction of these tour defectors trying to make their way back for events as well. We mean, obviously an argument could be made in their support, as they've got a right to compete for major trophies, but even though it may not be their fault, you can't argue against the fact that it's still a massive disruptor in any tournament's proceedings. And as a result, all of that pent-up frustration finally started to boil up to the surface. Up next, the tour's members don't want LIV Golf players in their tournaments. Being one of the more senior members of the PGA Tour, Davis Love tries to avoid controversy, but with everything that's been going on around the community, even he had to step up and take a stance against Greg Norman's advances. And according to him, other players are fed up with the chaos that's been created by LIV Golf. Now, of course, being the captain of the US team for next month's President Cup, he'd know all about what other members think. Having said that, he's had some curveballs thrown at him as well. For instance, he was hedging his bets on Phil Mickelson staying and being part of his team for the upcoming tournament. So he's not sure if players from within his camp are going to stick around for a long time. At the same time though, he thinks that a vast majority of the PGA Tour members simply despise the fact that the Saudi League rebels can just get up and cherry pick tournaments at their whim. Like, trying to compete in all events of the tour is one thing, but when you just come running back for the biggest events only, then it's a bit disingenuous. After all, you've got to work your way up and earn that spot rather than just barging your way in. That said, Love thinks that while the situation may look dire for the association's members, the real power still lies in their hands. Now, the tour's members could actually boycott future events. Of course, saying stuff to make yourself look and feel superior is easy and everything, but in situations like these, you've got to walk the walk as well. That said, apparently everyone with the tour is actually ready to do just that. As a matter of fact, Love claims that golfers are already banding together and planning to potentially boycott major events that allow LIV Golf players to compete. Now, of course, this can seem like a bit of a strange reaction, especially when you consider that the Saudi League members haven't actually been able to perform at a high level during these weekends. According to Love though, it's all about showing who holds all the cards, because if they decide that they want to walk away, someone's going to have to get up and take some action. At the same time, he did admit that it does feel like a nuclear option that they probably wouldn't have to exercise, as the tour's been pretty good at blocking these players' entry anyways. Besides, Besides, there's a fine line between making a point and actually looking like you've been blindsided. We mean, if some of the members decide to not do the whole boycott thing, then they're instantly going to be on the back foot again. Next, Love calls LIV Golf rebels a bunch of backstabbers. Davis Love is an old school guy, so you can definitely see where his frustrations come from. After all, it's not like LIV Golf's actually followed up on its claims of revolutionizing the game or transforming it into something more than it already is. Plus, if anything, they're kind of devaluing it by paying exorbitant amounts of money to average players and then expecting them to produce world-class performances. We mean, we've already seen how much these golfers have struggled to perform over the past few months. At the same time, perhaps it's not about the performances at all, since sometimes money's enough of a driving force to keep the gears turning. Love isn't ready to sit back and watch this thing unfold without doing anything though. In fact, he's actually using the players who've already left as an example to issue a warning to everyone else. For him, these defectors are nothing but backstabbers, as they've walked back on the very morals that brought them into the game. And after they realize the big mistake that they've made by joining a soulless league, they come crawling back, hoping that the PGA Tour would accept them with open arms again. But of course, real life doesn't work like that, and you've got to stand by the decisions that you've made. And finally, the US captain issues a stern warning to all LIV Golf aspirants. And now, we've all heard Tiger Woods' impassioned speech about how youngsters are making a grave mistake by joining Greg Norman's upstart league. And to be fair, he's got a point, because most of these players do grow up dreaming about the PGA Tour and all the major events. So it's a bit of a shame when they have a change of heart after looking at that big paycheck. Davis Love, on the other hand, doesn't actually have that sort of sympathy for anyone who leaves the tour. For him, they're just effectively ending their careers in pursuit of money. Like, you can either decide to be great like Tiger Woods or get banned from the game. The choice is pretty obvious, right? But obviously, it's not as simple as that, because according to Love, these youngsters are also sold sweet lies by the Australian CEO. And it's only when they step onto the course at one of his invitationals do they realize that this isn't what they bargained for at all. So in a way, just the fact that we're seeing all these players try to compete in the tour's major events should be enough of a warning for anyone else not to join the league. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think that LIV Golf players should be allowed to take part in major events? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.